Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Opportunity Desk live series with Ade Olowojoba. Today, we're discussing a very interesting topic, remote work. Where are the opportunities? So whether you call it remote work, virtual work, telecommuting work, they all mean the same thing, working from home. And we know that with the current pandemic, this has become a very sought after topic. It's become an issue of concern to almost everyone because we need to keep our cash flow coming in. We need to take care of a lot of things. We need money. So jobs are being threatened right now, and companies more than ever before are demanding certain skill sets that would help their organizations thrive during this crisis. So if you do not have certain skills, your chances of getting remote jobs become limited. And today we want to discuss this topic. We want to know how to find those opportunities. We want to know how to access them, how to prepare ourselves, and how to be better positioned to get those kinds of jobs. There is no one else better to discuss this than Ade Olowojoba, who is a human capital development specialist and someone who has worked for many years in the tech sector, helping young people to access economic growth opportunities. So today, Ade is going to talk to us about remote work, and he will take your questions at the end of the session. So please help me welcome Ade. Ade, you are welcome.
Okay, thank you, Grace, and hello, hello
Yes.
everyone. Yeah, so it's a beautiful evening here from the city of Lagos, in Nigeria, where I am based. I'm really excited to be doing this, and thank you everyone for joining us. So first, I would like to start with by just by outreaching out to everyone who has been affected or hit by the COVID-19 pandemic in some sort of ways, either economically or health-wise, or you've lost a a loved one. Sending you all the love right now. And yes, also just before I continue, also want to use this opportunity to commend Grace and the entire Opportunity Desk team for the interesting job they are doing, for the amazing job they are doing on the Opportunity Desk platform. For me, I really didn't realize how big the Opportunity Desk platform is till I have to travel out of the country and work with some other young people from other parts of the world. And everybody keeps coming back to me that, oh, from Nigeria, Opportunity Desk, Opportunity Desk. So you guys are doing an amazing job, and I would like to encourage you guys to keep it up. Yes. So back to my main topic of discussion for today, which is remote jobs. Remote jobs, and is becoming more like a buzz statement now, where you hear the word remote jobs. I'm working remotely, and no thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, which again has made the term remote working very popular. So first, let's start with what exactly is remote jobs. What is remote work? So remote work is any work that allows you to work from whatever location that you choose to work from. That's basically in the long and short meaning of remote work. So basically, you don't have to go to the brick and mortar office or to the physical space that is provided by your organization, or that is where other co-workers go to work. So you can decide whatever location you want to work at every point in time. And then you also hear words like virtual work, like Grace mentioned, telecommuting, work from home, work at home. Yes, it all still basically refers to the term remote work, and working from whatever location that you're in part time. So, what are So straight to work. So why is remote work so important at this particular point in time? And like I told someone last week, that the interesting thing about remote work at the moment is that you don't even need to like remote work, or you don't even need to agree with the term remote work. But the truth is that almost all the jobs right now in the world at this particular point in time are remote work. They are virtual. So for myself, a very good example is myself and my team members within my colleagues in my organization. For about 1.5 months now, we've not been to the office because just before the lockdown, we had closed our office, and everybody has been working from home. So you don't need to even like the word remote work. You don't need to agree with it. But the truth is, the world is at a phase right now, and no thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, everybody has had to create a structure around the way they work, with the social distancing and the physical distancing that is currently in vogue. So you have to just find a way to get work done from whatever location that it is that you found yourself. So I have team members at the moment who are currently like 5 hours away from where our office is, and they still manage to get work done from their location. So which also buttresses my point that now is a very, very important time in history to begin to consider remote work if you have never thought about the option of working remotely, because a lot more organizations have now embraced remote because of the COVID-19. And if going by the predictions that we have seen, that it's going to take a while for the vaccine or for everything, all the miracles that we're expecting, it's going to take a while for it to happen. Then it means that the remote work might be something that could be on for a long time. And beyond that, by the time even all of this is over, remote work it has come to stay. So it's something that I think everybody, especially every young person, should begin to look into and should begin to take very serious. So for you to work remotely, what are the things that you need to have? So first, you need to have a very good you need to have a device, a computer device, and you need to have a very good internet. You need to have a stable internet connection for you to be able to work effectively from whatever location that you have found yourself. So, one of the most important things about remote work is that there are some characteristics that you need to be an effective remote worker. So, for instance, if you want to work remotely, first, there are a few questions that you need to answer for you to know if remote work is for you. So are you someone that is able to work independently? Are you able to work independently? Are you organized? So because there is no physical office that you're reporting to, or there is you're not seeing your colleagues as you would usually see them in a typical work environment. So it means that you need to be really organized. You need to be on top of your game for you to be able to succeed if you want to work remotely or you want to work virtually. So I've talked about the fact that you need to be very organized. You need to be very disciplined. You need to have a very strict work schedule. And you need to be able to draw the balance between work life and family life. So for instance, the fact that you don't commute to the office in the morning, you tend to want to. There are some people, they are not able to separate between their work and their professional work and their domestic work. They don't have a closing time. They don't have a resumption time. If you're going to work remotely, that's something you need to look into, and you need to be able to effectively schedule your life to work effectively remotely. So, what are the opportunities for remote work? Where exactly are the opportunities? The interesting thing about the world right now is the fact that everybody is going digital. Every organization, every business, every Yeah, so everybody is battling to have a digital footprint. And what does this mean for you as a professional that wants to offer your skill to a global market? What this means is the fact that a lot of opportunities are going to emerge, especially in the digital space. So if you are someone who typically doesn't operate in the digital space, you need to now begin to brace up to get digital skills. So the top skills that you would where opportunities are emerging right now in remote work, I'm going to quickly go over them. So, for instance, in a traditional world, you will find billboards, you will find huge advertising campaigns, you will find huge marketing campaigns, you will find road shows, you would see you will see like a lot of activities going on in the typical brick and mortar world. But now that there is the concept of social and physical distancing, all of that is now beginning to reduce. All of that is beginning to reduce, meaning everybody is going digital. So what happens to all the billboards that are on the streets of New York right now? All the billboards that are on the street of Paris, all the billboards that are on the street of Lagos, everybody's going digital. So you will find those billboards that you used to find everywhere on your street. You typically probably find them on a Facebook, you find them on an Instagram, you find them on social media. So meaning that those who probably their work involves mounting all of these billboards, now their work has shrinked, is really shrink. And now that those same particular opportunities are now being transferred to people who have skill set in managing social media, people who have skill set in coming up with visual and creative designs, people who have skill set in being able to write and interpret codes. So, and that brings us to where the emerging opportunities are when we talk about remote working. So you find you find things like graphic design and user experience, user interface designer. Those jobs are constantly on the increase right now. Why? Because a lot of people are battling to go digital. So you find jobs like be the copywriter. So typically you would a lot of people or a lot of organizations, a lot of businesses that do not have digital footprint, that do not have a website, that do not have a blog, now they are being forced to begin to look at the digital space and invest massively in the digital space. So with that, opportunities begin to rise for jobs like web designers, graphic designers, data scientists. And after this time, you're also going to see like a rise in artificial intelligence in data science, in data science. So these are skill sets that if you want to work in the remote space, you need to look for a way to get any of these skills. So it's not just enough for you to want a remote job. It's not just enough for you to want to work, be somewhere, maybe in Namibia or somewhere in Zimbabwe and want to work for a New York organization. So you need to find out that what are the opportunities that are available that you can tap into from your comfort, from the comfort of your sitting room or from the comfort of your home in Zimbabwe or in India or in Bangladesh. So those are the kind of things that you need to begin to research into. So and a good place to start is get online. Google is your friend. Like Google as for me, that's like one of the best tools ever that I've ever seen. So just by getting on Google and just search top 10 skill areas for remote jobs, you will find all of these things. And because the world is moving at a very, very fast pace, is very, 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 very dynamic right now. You will find new skill sets are coming up every day. Some skill sets that were active yesterday are becoming very obsolete. So that's something you need to research into and find which one is the best fit for you. So, for instance, I had mentioned being a web designer. So there are quite a number of job sites where you can actively bid for remote jobs. So for instance, there is the likes of the Flex Jobs, there is the Upwork, there is the Fiverr, and those are referred to as the gig economy. So, and basically what you do on these platforms is once you have a skill that you can trade, you get on this platform, you register yourself, you create a profile for yourself, and you can begin to bid for opportunities that people post on those platforms. And eventually, if you are able to prove or demonstrate to the gig owner or to the organization that is listing the gig that you are the right person, that you are able to do this effectively more than anyone else that is bidding for the job, eventually you can get the job. But the interesting thing is that the remote job space is getting very fierce and very competitive as time goes on, meaning that you need to do a lot more. You need to do a lot more than the average person to be able to access these opportunities. And you need to be very, very creative in assessing these opportunities. So how do I mean? And this is where I'm going to talk about critical things that you need to start considering. So if you are a developer or you work in any of the core technology skills, so you need to begin to position yourself as a thought leader. You need to begin to align yourself with some communities. How do I mean? So if you're a developer, you probably have heard of the term of GitHub. You probably have heard of things like Stack Overflow. These are things that gives you external. These are places where you can validate yourself to the external world, where you can position yourself. So, for instance, how what does your profile look like on LinkedIn? So, the fact that it's a remote job does not mean that you would also not put in the work that is required to get a job if you're searching for a job actively. So, what communities are you on? Do you belong to on LinkedIn? On Facebook, what communities do you belong to? And how many communities do you belong to in that your skill area? So, for instance, if you are a UI UX designer, or you are a finance professional, or you are an accountant, and you're looking to get a remote job, so how many accounting groups do you belong to on LinkedIn? How is your profile on LinkedIn? Is it targeted towards is it properly targeted towards the kind of opportunities that you are looking out for? So you need to belong to those certain communities, and beyond belonging to those communities. So for instance, I'll give an example. If when I was in HR and recruitment, I used to belong to some recruiters network. And basically, what that does to me is that it keeps me abreast of happenings in the recruitment world. It keeps me abreast of up-to-date information, of the latest certification. And beautiful thing is the fact that people come on these communities, community members come, they post the challenges that they have, they post the current problems that they are dealing with in their organizations. And this gives you an opportunity to show your expertise, to be a problem solver within those communities. So the same way you need to be a problem solver, if you're looking for the typical 9 to 5, you also need to be a problem solver to be able to get a remote job. And so you need to, after getting the necessary skill that you need in getting your desired remote work, you need to join these communities. And after joining any of these communities, I would suggest you belong to quite a number of these communities. So on LinkedIn, there are a group for developers. On Facebook, there are a group for developers. On Twitter, there are trends. There are trends where, like, you find a lot of developers making comments, sharing the latest thing they're working on on their social media, on Twitter, writing, sharing articles, writing on Medium. These are things that you need to begin to consider, because eventually these are the things that will position you as a thought leader. These are the things that will give you visibility. These are the things that would give you opportunity to begin to associate with top people who are making hiring decisions, top people who also need problem solvers to be able to solve some specific problems for them in their organization. So if you are a developer and you are like you're always sharing knowledge, and you're always writing open source code that people can benefit from. You're always doing things that people can always get value from. What that automatically does is that you begin to gain mind share. You begin to get visibility. People begin to reach out to you once they have challenges. And once people begin to reach out to you, once you become top of mind for people when they have challenges, once they are faced with issues, then you are positioning yourself for opportunities. So when you get to this community, you need to be a problem solver. You need to constantly, because eventually it is people within these communities that make hiring decisions. Eventually it is people within these communities that have a hiring budget. It is people within these communities that demonstrate a need. And eventually it is that need, the job you're looking for is a direct response to the need of that a professional circle that you found yourself. Next, okay, so still on communities, another thing you need to do is to constantly reach out and research about people who are currently working remotely. So if you want, one of the easiest ways to get something is to find out someone who has achieved what you are looking for, what you want to achieve, and begin to learn from them. So even if this is going to cost you, even though like in most cases, it might cost you something. It might cost you maybe to pay for coaching, to pay for classes, but you need to look for someone, because, and the interesting thing about remote work is that it differs from organization. The policy differs from organization to organization. It differs from countries to countries. So for instance, in some organizations, they can hire anyone from any country to work remotely. In some other organizations, they have restrictions on certain locations, because there are legal restrictions on as to which areas and which locations you can hire people from. But one of the ways to bypass like all this uncertainty is to look for someone who is from your client. Maybe if you are from Bangladesh, or you're from India, or you are from Nigeria like I am, or you're from Namibia, is to look for somebody who is from your country and has gotten a remote work in similar locations that you are looking to get a remote work. So for instance, maybe the person is from your country and is gotten a remote work in European countries, in an EU country, or he has gotten a remote work from an American organization, or he has gotten a remote work from a Canadian organization. So you need to reach out to those kind of people. You need to be able to go for knowledge, ask them questions, reach out to them. That okay, I found out that, and it's not these people are not so far from us. If you go on Twitter, you will find a lot of people. You can search, you can do a search. As a matter of fact, some people, after getting their own remote jobs, they come online and they start like a vlog, or they start a blog on how to get remote opportunities. So it is very important for you to identify those kind of people and begin to align yourself with those kind of people, so that you can also know some of the things that they did, and because you are from a similar client, you would have reduced the amount of stress that you would go through. For instance, you've started looking for jobs in organizations where they can't even hire from your location. You would not even know that they can't even hire from your location. But if you are talking to someone who has already gotten a remote job in a similar country from you, or that's already working in a similar country where you want to work, they can guide you and tell you all the do's and don'ts and all the rules and regulations and what they did. And guess what? The interesting thing about keeping a community of this kind of people is that a lot of time, those kind of people get opportunities to make recommendations. So, for instance, if you find maybe an employee A who is performing really well and is from country X, chances are very high that that organization, if they need someone else to fill another vacant role in the organization, and that role is a remote role, chances are very high because a lot of organizations are now beginning to have employee referral program where you have developers bring in developers, you have accounting professionals also refer or recommend accounting professionals to the organizations. Those are things that you need to also take very seriously. So, and when you get, so I will go to applying for a remote job now. So how do you apply for a remote job? You need your CV, definitely. You need your cover letter, and you need your portfolio of the past work that you've done. Even if it will be more interesting though if your past experience, if you had any previous experience working on a remote job. But even if you don't have any experience, any previous experience working on a remote job, you can package what you've done previously. And one of the easiest ways to get experience is getting on projects. So how do I mean? You are now learning to become a web designer, or you're currently learning to become a graphic designer, and you are not able to gather like all the required experience to apply to certain roles. An easy way to crack that is start volunteering for projects. Start working on projects for people around you. Start working on projects for them. Start just get engaged. Why do you need to work on projects? Because eventually, these are the projects that you're going to populate your portfolio with. These are things that you're going to be able to show on your portfolio that you've done. Because anyone who wants to hire you virtually must be also ascertained, must be sure that you've done some things that are worthwhile, and why they should place a bet on you and hire you. So you need your CV, you need your cover letter properly done. You also need to as much as possible, tailor it towards remote job applications. And then you need your profile, your GitHub profile. If you are a developer, you work in the core technical space, you need your GitHub profile properly done. All the Stack Overflow, you need to have done all of those things, because basically those are the things that gives you external validation. So also your LinkedIn profile is very very important. If it's important is an understatement, you need to have your LinkedIn profile very, very well written. So those are the things that would position you and stand you out of the crowd. So where are the sites where you can get remote jobs? So I mentioned Fiverr, I mentioned Upwork, I mentioned FlexNet. I know that Opportunity Desk has a list of sites where you can get remote work. I think I've seen one on Grace's timeline. I'm happy to also share after this call, to share on the Opportunity Desk after this webinar. I'm happy to share some sites that I know on the platform. But the interesting thing about, you need to be very careful, because there are a lot of scam. There are a lot of scam that are positioning themselves as people who can help you get remote work opportunity or work from home opportunities. You need to be very, very, very careful. Any website or any platform that is asking you to pay first before they help you secure a job, a remote job, you need to be very careful of such platforms. And the interesting thing about the current market, like I was discussing with Grace before I came online, is the fact that now the world is in a recession, and we're entering a recession, and the global market has crashed. So what does this mean for people who are working in developing countries who are from developing countries or want to get remote job opportunities from developing countries. What that means is, for instance, let's say a job in Texas, or a web developer job in Texas, or a data scientist job in Texas. Because of the rules and regulation guiding employment legislation around those particular clients, there are like what you have as the minimum wage. The minimum wage of someone who works in a place like Texas or in a place like the US is different from that of someone who is based in India. Is different from that of someone who is working from Nigeria or who is working from Namibia or working from Ghana or South Africa. So what this now do to you that creates the opportunity is the fact that when these jobs are listed on a lot of the American websites. So you find websites like Indeed, like Monster Jobs, like Craigslist. You can just do a quick search of whatever job, your profession. So for instance, web designer jobs in Texas or web designer jobs in California. Once you see a list of these jobs, the interesting thing is everybody's working now anyway. So either they want someone virtually or they want someone to come to the office full time. Most likely, those people are working remotely. So what are the things you can do? You can go ahead and reach out to the hiring manager. So for instance, if you have that skill, you can go ahead and reach out to the hiring manager that, hey, you know what? I noticed that you're trying to hire for XYZ role. Well, I have XYZ years of experience, and this is my portfolio. Interestingly, I noticed that the pay for the job is $60,000. Well, you don't need to pay me up to $60,000 for this particular role. Why? Because the exchange rate in your country or the minimum wage is way lower than that. That puts you at an advantage. And now because the world economy is crashing, organizations are beginning to consider things like that. So I'll share the story of a friend who he was in the US at some point. I think last year he traveled to the US and guess what? I think his card. So he traveled from Nigeria. He went to the US and his ATM card disappointed him when he got to the US. Guess what? From his room, so he didn't have access to cash. He couldn't buy things and he couldn't access his Bank of America account at that time. Guess what? He said he just went on a particular website and he started reaching out. And because he runs a digital agency here in Nigeria, he reached out to about 100 organizations. He reached out to about 100 organizations. I think about 5 of them reached out back to him. And guess what? They gave him some gig. And he had people in Nigeria executing those jobs for him. And eventually, that was how he was able to sustain himself till he returned to Nigeria. So what I'm saying in essence is that COVID-19, the recession, is also presenting a lot of opportunities because things are changing in the market. Things are changing in the global economy. Things that probably weren't possible before now, things are beginning to change. They're going to change because a lot of organizations are running out of cash right now. And they are definitely, price is a major, major consideration. Salary is a major, major consideration. So if you can take the pain of doing all of those research, and I also need to let you know that getting a job, same way it is with getting a typical 9 to 5, is not going to come easy. The more the effort you put into this, the higher your chances of getting a job. So for instance, the biggest challenge with a lot of that I see with a lot of people is that they don't ever take action. So they want to get a remote job. They like the idea that they're working from their sitting room and they're working for an organization in Berlin. But the truth is, you need to put in all the work. So how many jobs are you willing to apply to on a daily basis? At some point, I had a friend who applied to like about over 100 PhD applications before he was able to get one. So in your case, how many jobs are you willing to apply to? How much are you willing to send cold emails to organizations and agencies that are doing the kind of things that you're doing in the client where you want to work? That's in addition to going on the remote platforms to go and look for a job. How willing are you to reach out? So if I were you, the biggest challenge is always call to action, because I'm very sure like that a lot of people that are listening, this is like not the first time you are listening to something on remote jobs or how to get a remote job, and it sounds like a very cool idea, except the fact that you've not gotten your hands dirty. So if I were you right now, after now, I'm going to put on some action points, which basically is to reach out to XYZ number of organizations on a daily basis with my skills. So first is you need to even understand what skills are being required in the market at the moment and align yourself with those skills, and eventually begin to try out projects that can give you some credibility, and then begin to reach out to as much as possible organizations. The easy way to start is get on the job boards. Either the role is remote or not remote, is listed as remote or not. You can begin to reach out to them because everybody is home right now. Everybody's working remotely. As I last week, over 4.5 billion people across the world are working are at home. So it means that almost everybody is working. So start reaching out to these organizations every single day. If you're going to reach out to 40, if you're going to reach out to 50, ensure that you're reaching out to them. Go on the job site, look at those organizations, create an Excel sheet or a Google sheet, write like the organization, the name, the email address, and then the status of what it is that you've done. So if you just sent in your application, note it there on your Google sheet or on your tracker that okay, application sent. Next step is to send a follow-up email by next week. Because why? You need to be very creative. As a lot of people lose their jobs, more people will begin to also consider the option of remote working. And you're not the only one who's going to be considering that option. It means that you need to do something special to stand out of the crowd. And what do I mean by doing something special as I close? Which is, so beyond sending your CV and beyond sending your portfolio, is it possible to do a 1-minute video showing them what and what you can do on their website? So for instance, I see a lot of websites of small businesses in the US and in the UK. They have a website that is not so user friendly. They have a website that is not mobile friendly. These are opportunities. If you can look for the problem, devise the solution to them, and tell them you're going to solve the problem, eventually that presents you the opportunity. So as I close, every organization is looking for someone to solve problems, either remote or non-remote. If you can actively go and look at for these opportunities for yourself and show these organizations, hey, I noticed that you're losing a lot of money on the table. I can help you design a new website. I can help you redesign your website. I can help you redesign a mobile app that would help you gain more sales. Most likely, you are going to get that opportunity because I currently belong to a community online where people do that and they show their paycheck every day. So if they can do it, then nothing is stopping. Take your questions. I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that remote job opportunities exist and you also can get them.
Thank you so much, Ade. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Grace.
Thank you, Ade. You've done so well, like pouring your heart out and really telling us about these remote jobs. But what I really like about your session is how you started from the very top, telling us about positioning ourselves as thought leaders so that we can gain visibility. And I like that you mentioned that the importance of communities. Communities are so important to help validate our skills. And this is something that you have emphasized throughout your talk. And you've also told us about updating our social media profile, connecting with people in our own countries that have maybe gotten some job opportunities in the countries that we're aspiring to get them. You've said so much about how to even apply. So some of the things that are required for in-person jobs, things like CV, cover letter, and a portfolio, they are very much needed even while trying to get an online job, right? And I've seen someone ask a question about what kind of projects you need to start working on so that you have a rich portfolio to get to show to your clients or potential clients and employers. So if you want to start with that question, just throw more light on the kind of projects that people can start working on to prepare themselves for remote jobs. And
Okay.
then after that question, I'm going to flash the other questions on the screen for you.
Okay. Thank you, Grace. Yes. So my advice for that person that asked the question that what kind of project do you need to start working on is a very easy way to do that because we're in a world where um, things are moving at a very fast pace. So what you think you knew yesterday and what you think was in vogue yesterday, by the time you wake up tomorrow, is things have changed and the world has moved on. So what I would advise, a good place to start is just go online and just check for what type jobs in your desired location. So for instance, if I want to work in Pittsburgh in USA, a good place to just type online web design jobs in Pittsburgh, USA. What that helps me to do is I'll see like the current jobs that are posting in Pittsburgh, USA. I will see like the projects that they require. I will see like the skills and the kind of experience that they require. And once I'm able to see that, then I can begin to work from the back and align myself with those skill sets. So if the projects are going to differ from profession to profession. So, for instance, you wouldn't expect an accountant to work on the same project that a web developer is going to work on. Neither would you expect a UI UX designer to work on a similar project that a data analyst or a data scientist is going to work on. But the good thing is, all of these things are very much available on the internet. So just go online, Google on search on the kind of roles that you are looking to get in the kind of countries you're looking to get those roles, and you would see the requirements. You will see the person specification. You would also see the job requirements. I hope that has answered your question. Okay, so I saw a question that how do you approach an organization to sell your skill? Fantastic. I love that question. So basically, the way you are. Hello, 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 Grace. I I
Ade,
can hear you. Okay, can you take that again? I didn't get that.
can you see your screen? I'll put the questions up on the
Yes,
screen and you
yes,
answer them. So
yes,
only
yes,
answer the questions on the screen. Thank you.
yes. Okay. So the first question I saw before this, I would answer that first, which basically is how do you sell your skills to an organization? Yes, so one of the easiest ways to sell your skills to an organization is to look for problems within the organization. How do I mean? So if I want to work for an organization or I want an organization to hire me, I'm going to go look for loopholes in that organization. So first, I'll start by going to their website. I'll look at if I'm a copywriter, I'm going to look at every single post that they put out on their blog. I'm going to look at every single post that they put out on Medium. I'm going to look at every single post that they tweeted. I'm going to look at every single thing that is on their Facebook page. What am I looking for? I'm scanning for problems. I'm scanning for things that are not perfect. I'm scanning for things that could be better in that organization. Once I'm able to spot a problem in that organization, trust me, then it's left for me to now start articulating my thoughts and I will reach out to the organization. So, for instance, there was a test. So there was a there was a coaching group. I signed up for a coaching course in the US lately, and one of the challenge that our coach gave us in class was this same thing. Just look for so look for organization in a particular sector. So for instance, if I want to target food businesses in Ontario, so I would go like local restaurant in Ontario. Once I go there, I will go check their I check their Google reviews. I'll see like the amount of reviews they have. I will see the number of positive and negative reviews. I will see like their rating. I would see their social media. I will see their posts. I will see their website. I can easily check if their website is mobile friendly. I can check all their copies. I can check all like the marketing that campaigns that they have on social media. Once, basically, what am I looking for? I'm looking for loopholes. Basically, every loophole is an opportunity to add value. Every loophole is an opportunity to solve problems. Once I am able to spot a loophole, then I'm definitely coming for that organization. So it's left for me now to package whatever it is in a very creative way and reach out to them that, oh, I found XYZ in your on your website or within your business, and I bet it that you're losing a lot of money. That because of this could cost you XYZ if you don't do this properly. And I'm going to offer to do this for you. So basically, I've been able to demonstrate my expertise to the organization, and I show them that I've been able to do this for XYZ organizations, and I can also do same for you. And basically, every single day that we did that, there were testimonials to that effect that it worked. Hello, Grace. I can't hear you.
I'm going to flash only the necessary questions on the screen for the sake of time. Okay. So as I flash them, you just answer them in 1 to 2 minutes so that we can attend to other questions. We have tons of questions that are in today.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have this one that says,
okay. So from what I'm seeing here, can I list some of the genuine remote job sites? Yes, I can give you a few now, and I'm happy to share a few on opportunity that's come after this live session. So there is for purely like remote work, the gig economy, I recommend Upwork, upwork.com, upwork.com. I would recommend Fiverr. That's five as in five, Five, then with a double R, Fiverr.com. I would recommend Flex Jobs, FLEX jobs.com. Yeah, then for like your typical job listing, where you also want to go and pitch for remote, where you want to try bid for remote or virtual work, I would recommend Indeed.com, any day, anytime. I would recommend Monster.com. I would also recommend if you are in the UK or you're looking to get job opportunities from the UK, I'd recommend ZipRecruiter. Yeah, I recommend ZipRecruiter, and then I'm also going to recommend Craigslist. Yes, Craigslist. Craig's as in Craig, CSCRAIG, Craigslist. So yes, so they are quite a whole lot more. I'm happy to share on the Opportunity Desk Facebook after now. I hope that answered your question. Thank you. Okay, next question. Next question from David Adejmo. Please, for a data science role that is still very nascent in Nigeria, how would you advise someone that wants to get into the global market with limited experience? Yeah, so so how would you advise someone that wants to get into the global market with limited experience? Yeah, so first I would advise that you join community of data scientists. So go online, go and look for the biggest data science communities, join them. Go on LinkedIn, look for data science communities, join them. Also, begin to look for successful data scientists that are out of that are out of your area. So, for instance, if you want to work in the US, look for a data scientist in the US. If you want to work in if you want to work in the UK, look for a successful data scientist in the UK and reach out to these guys and let them know that you admire their work and that you want to learn from them. And eventually, the way doing this is eventually you have to also add value. So, for instance, if you're reaching out to a data scientist in the US or in the UK, the chances are very high that the person is also very busy and would also appreciate some help or some form of support, because everybody's trying to take away from. Most times, people reach out to this kind of people with a mind of taking away from them. You can always offer to even volunteer your time on some of the projects he's working on. Don't forget, you're doing two things by doing that. You're doing two things. You're getting project experience, real life experience, by helping volunteer to work on some small project that the person is working on. You're getting real life experience. You are also putting yourself top of mind as a problem solver to that person. What would eventually happen is that by the time opportunities come up, or by the time opportunities come up within the circle or the network of that person, you're already top of mind because you've displayed some form of positivity, you've displayed a good level of attitude, and you probably displayed some level of teachability. And you've also shown that you are interested and willing to grow. So, yes, I hope that answers your question, David. Okay. Um, Ogochukwu Nancy Peter, what tools are required to work remotely? Yeah, beautiful question. I originally planned to touch on this point. So, yeah, so there are quite a number of tools that organizations use. It varies from organizations to organization. In some organizations, you find them using Asana. In some places, you find them using Trello. In some places, you find them using Slack. In other organizations, you find them using their own internal. They have like their own internal work tool. But basically, it's about being open to new technologies and getting the basics of how technology and digital tools work. Once you are open and you really understand the idea behind the digital tools, ordinarily you should be able to find your way around any digital tool that it is that they're using in those organizations. But I would definitely recommend that you try to get on Slack and understand how Slack work at the basic level. Yeah, so I saw the question is I talked about having a balance between work life and family life. That how can someone achieve this effectively? To be honest, it's very tough because this is something I've been guilty of for years, which basically is work after work. When you get back home, you still have to work. But basically, I would share like um, things that have worked for me, which basically is you communicate with all the necessary stakeholders. So if you when if okay, so the first thing I think is have a schedule, have a structured schedule. So if you resume, even though you work from home, if you resume work in your house by 8 a.m. and you know that your work time is supposed to be 8 to 5, then let your 8 to 5. Um, you shouldn't leave at some point to go and do some house chores at that time. So, and once you do that, once you set your schedule, communicate your schedule, your work routine with your critical stakeholders. If you're married, your partner is a critical stakeholder. If you have kids, your kids are critical stakeholders. Let them know that okay, and these are the ground rules, and if possible, involve them in the decision making. Let them let them be part of let it be a consultative process. And okay, now that we're all here, I have a new job and it's going to require that I work from home, and XYZ time is the time that I'm going to require to work. Can we set the ground rules together? Once they are involved in the decision making process and they understand, chances that they're going to distort with family issues during work hours reduces drastically. Then you for yourself, you need to be disciplined. Like you can't like so if you want to take a nap, you should probably put it in your schedule that okay, XYZ time you take a nap and you make up for that time that you spend taking a nap. Not just that you wake up when you like and you sleep when you like. and there's no way you are going to do that, and you would have a work-life balance. Because what you end up doing is you eat into the family time is going to eat into work time, and work time is going to eat into family time. So you need to be able to separate it, family from work, family time from work time, and eventually, with time, you might struggle a bit at the beginning, but you gain mastery. Okay, so next question here: what should people who aren't accustomed to remote work do to get psychologically ready for it? Yeah, so I think a good way is speak with people who are working remotely currently, who have worked remotely successfully. Speak with them and understand how they were able to get their ways around it. My idea about life is that whatever it is that you want to do, most likely someone has done it. So just go and look for that person that has done it, either via Google or via in person or in whatever way that you can learn from the experience of other persons. Then you yourself, you also need to understand that you also need to agree with yourself that you want to do remote work. If you speak to everybody, if you speak to the entire world, and you don't come to agreement with yourself that this is the phase where you're in currently in your work and your career, then you're likely not gonna make headway. So you need to agree with yourself after considering all that is needed in terms of the discipline, the skills, and the sacrifices that you need. And to be honest, a good way to also psychologically prepare for it is to see the benefit. So, for instance, um, there is a certain data that I stumbled across that 65% of remote workers they save more, even though that data is I wasn't able to verify, but that they save more than people commute to work, because basically you have time to save commute time, and then lately what I've heard is people say they don't spend a lot on they don't spend an expensive wardrobe for work. They reduce the amount of money they spend on travel and the amount of money they spend on energy costs going to work to and fro. Yes, so basically, when you also look at the opportunities that this brings to you, the countless hours that you're going to save um, from by not commuting in traffic. I think basically all of that are things that once you see the benefits, the way the human mind works, I think eventually it will help you in making that transition psychologically. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, so how do you avoid job scams when looking for a remote job? So first is don't be too desperate. When I mean don't be too desperate, don't always do things at all costs. So you go to a website and they say you should bring money. Why are you paying? Why should you pay? So first is don't be willing to part with any money to get a remote job. So once you're not going to part, except you're paying an agent to coach you, except you're paying someone to coach you or to prepare you for the opportunity to work remotely, or except you are learning, you're paying to get a particular skill, add on advice that you should go pay for to get a job. And by so doing, you become vulnerable to people who can scam you. And another thing to do is try and work with verified job agents. If you want to work with job agents, there are quite a number. I know, yeah, so there are quite a number of organizations that are like they also help people secure remote employment. Work with those verified job organizations rather than just going with those that aren't verified. Also, the job site, work with verified job sites that have a proven track record and that have credibility, rather than just going to a mushroom site that promises you that you're going to earn $50 per hour for working. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ade. This has been such an insightful session. I have learned so much. And to your last point, yes, be very careful not to stumble on scam websites. I was on a conversation with a friend last week, and she shared with me links of several fake job websites, fake scholarship websites. They look so real, but then you can easily spot that it is fake because First of all, is the website secure? What kind of information are they putting out? Who is behind it? Do they have a social media profile and things like that? Just very little details, matter. And it's important that we are very careful observing these things, because now more than ever before, there are so many fake people out there who are just looking for their next victim to take money from. So everyone, please watch out. Next week, we're going to have someone else talk to us about cybersecurity and how to keep safe on the internet while you look for or work remotely. So thank you, Ade. We've learned so much. If you think that this session has been beneficial to you, I'd like you to just put down one word that describes how you feel right now or how this session has been. So Ade, we have a few persons saying that this is lovely. Paras Modi says lovely as well. We have a few others who said, thank you so much, Ade. This was insightful. And someone else said it was profound and it was insightful. So thank you very much. This video is going to be available for replay. So feel free to invite your friends and the people in your network to watch it after now. Okay. We'll call it a day, Ade. How do you feel?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Just one last word from me. If you don't get the remote job that you're looking for, you can actually create one with your skill sets. Thank you.
Ade, awesome. You can actually create one with your skill sets. I like that. That's very powerful. We're always on the lookout, right, for what other people can give to us. But we forget that we have so much more to offer. If only we can position ourselves to, give what we have, right? So there are platforms where we can go sell our skills. There are people we can approach. There are emails we can send and say, hey, I can do this. I can translate. I can write a book for you. And just really put yourself out there. So everyone, if you don't find the remote work you're looking for, you can create one for yourself. Ade, I'm getting the comments, they're pouring in. I just want you to see them. Someone said this was a great and inspiring webinar. Somebody said enlightening. Thank you so much, Ade. Thank you so much. So guys,
thank you.
Ade is the co-founder of Code Tutor, codetutor.com.ng. Am I right, Ade?
Yeah.
Please go to codetutor.com.ng. I think you said you're currently running a programming training program online that people can benefit from.
Yeah. So if you if you want to work remotely, one of the skills that are currently selling right now is graphic design and UI UX, and we're running middle of this month. Next week we're running something. But with the that's closed now. But in about 2 weeks, in a fortnight, we're starting something, and you can get it on codetutor.com.ng/design. codetutor.com.ng/design. You can enroll for that program via that that website.
So, codetutor.com.ng. Go there and register to participate in the training program. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me, Grace. Thank you to the OD family for having me. You guys are doing an amazing job. Keep it up. Thank you very much.
And thank you to everyone who joined us. Bye.